This is my kitchen, but somebody else is in it tonight. And they're making some ale, home brew. And it's too freaking late for this, but it's happening anyway. And here's the guy that's doing it. So I hope it turns out really good, since I've invested some time in it this late hour in measurements of accuracy. And this recipe is just basic ale. I feel like I'm in the Williamsburg, Virginia days here. And
American Pale Ale.
American Pale Ale. This is a recipe, but I can't read it tonight because it's too late. And this is what it's going to go into. Everything's been disinfected, sanitized with the proper stuff. And these are the hops, which now come in pellets, which would just blow my grandmother's mind, because the only way she knew them was hanging on a vine.
Fresh hops.
Fresh hops. And now they pelletize them. It's just really amazing. They look so appetizing. But they are Cascade hops. Compressed. Dried and compressed. For bittering and for aroma. And this is the brewing yeast, which you can't read from here. So much for that. So this recipe's sort of simple, but very time consuming. So you have to start out with a gallon and a half of water. You have to boil it for a whole hour, stand in front of it, stir it constantly so it doesn't boil over on the stove and scorch everything up and make smoke in the house. It has to reduce to half of its liquid, and then you start, and it's already had some ingredients added, like the sugar and the malt extract.
Yeah, the malt and then the corn sugar.
Oh, corn sugar.
Yeah, dextrose.
Dextrose.
And then as soon as it comes to a boil, you add a 1/4 ounce of Cascades right at the beginning of the boil. And you set your timer for an hour. And right at the last 5 minutes, you add another 1/4 ounce of Cascades. And then right at the very end, right before you turn off the heat, you add the last of the Cascades, a 1/2 ounce for aroma. So, is this at a boil? Is that a boil? It's getting a hot break on it.
Yes, that's a boil.
Should I turn it down or not?
No, not quite yet, but soon.
Because as soon as I put them Cascades in there, it's like done.
Well, you put 1 or 2 at a time, like you do the noodles. So you get the fizz. Is it time for them?
Yeah.
Which one? Is this just a 1/4 ounce? So now the timing begins, and he has to stand over this pot for an hour, this boiling water.
That's not too much of oil, is it? I know they ain't gonna fizz over.
And as I already said once, this has to reduce in quantity of liquid to half.
Doesn't have to. You can add it back later.
It's much like making spaghetti sauce.
It smells good.
Oh, I can't get the camera in. And so this is what the kitchen table looks like right now. There's no room to sit down and eat anything, but we're having fun. And I have to tease them a little bit about it all. Since it is midnight, and
be done at 1.
I need to get up for work tomorrow, so I think he's going to be on his own pretty soon. And this is just for home enjoyment.
We'll be fermenting in a primary for a week, and then after a week it's racked to the secondary for 2 weeks to clear up and finish fermentation, and then the bottles will be primed with dextrose corn sugar, and then they'll be capped and let sit at room temperature for another 2-3 weeks, and then they're ready to be cold and drink.
That's several weeks.
It's about a month, yeah.
Maybe about one a week.
3 weeks to a month.
And maybe about one a week, right? So they last since you put so much time into it.
Yeah, I'm making so little of a gap, so little of a batch anyway. This will make about 10, 12 fluid ounce bottles.
So it'll last a long time.
A little over 10 bottles.
Alright. So, any questions? And then this is the wine for special occasions of celebration that is working its way through its processes.
This one's red grape, Concord grape. This one's the same thing with black cherry, I guess, mixed in it.
Matt's favorite?
Yeah. This one's a white grape with peach juice, and this one's an apple juice cider with brown sugar. It's a variation.
Alright.
So.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this off because I want to get some sleep.
This one.
Oh, that's the grapes, fresh grapes.
Is the only pulp fermentation I'm doing. And that's the... So this one's just white grapes with the pulp. It's still in its primary. So...
You should go into teaching.
And I use champagne yeast.
Just to try for that.
I use champagne yeast. It yields higher alcohol and